All right, here's the current controls I got for Aces of Thunder VR, and some of the controls will be for just the flight stick. I'll go over that. Pitch axis, a lot of these should be here by default. The yaw won't be here because I think they're wanting twist. I can't stand the twist on the joystick. So this probably look exactly like yours. It's all default. The roll, same way. This is all default. I will say that this game's default settings for the flight stick feel much better than the default settings like for War Thunder Sim. The stick feels much better without me having to move it. I haven't adjusted any of these on War Thunder Sim. I had to go through and adjust some things because it didn't feel quite right. But this game feels a lot better using a stick than War Thunder does, in my experience anyway. Yaw axis, I have that set to on the back throttle, the back throttle buttons there, the paddles back there. That's what I got. And then have the settings like this. These are all default except for obviously me assigning it to that axis. Throttle axis, I have obviously with the throttle. My throttle sucks balls. It sucked since the day I bought it. It's too loose in my opinion, so I have to use a button to enable it. I'm using R2, which is on the back of the throttle, to enable it so I don't accidentally, increase speed or decrease speed when I don't want to. Um, so I didn't change anything else but that. Keep that value, and then keep that. Obviously, I have to put keep value yes. Um, Invert you have to use on here as well for it to work right, but keep value I have to put yes because I have it activated by the R2 button. Hold throttle for WEP, no. WEP is War Emergency Power. If you played flight games, you know what that is, but if you don't, just you're squeezing out some extra power, but most engines will cook if you keep it on for too long. It's just what that setting means though is if I have it on no, so I don't have to hold like my throttle all the way up to get that to go. It's just gonna stay on until I back down to like less than War Emergency Power, which is above 100%. Left brake, I got L2 and R2, or L2 for both right and left. You'll see that I use L2 for modifier buttons, and you're only going to be using your brakes while you're landing, so it doesn't really matter. You want to put that to the increase value, and everything else keep it the same. Right brake looks exactly the same. Increase, put the button assigned to the increase spot. Don't need to change anything else. Small caliber, large caliber, additional guns, I all got set to R1. This reload guns thing, I have it at square, but this is stupid. I hope they get rid of this. It's very arcade-like. You shouldn't be able to reload unless you go back and land. It's dumb, retarded. They need to get rid of it. It doesn't belong in the game. Um, Drop bomb and fire rocket, I have L1. Uh, the reason I have it the same is because I'm hoping they add this, but on War Thunder Sim, you can toggle between your primary and your secondary weapon selector. So I'm hoping they add that because I'm basically copying my controls from War Thunder Sim over to here. So if they add that, this won't be a problem. But when they start adding stuff where you can have rockets and bombs, and they might already have it on some planes, but I'm not really a big ground and pounder, so I wouldn't know. I have to go look at that. But if there's planes with rockets and bombs, I'll have a problem. But if they add that weapon select like they do on War Thunder, I won't have a problem. I just prefer using one button to fire either one of them and just selecting which one I want to fire. Toggle gear L3 and square, flaps R3, and then flaps down R3 plus circle, flaps up R3 plus X. Toggle air brake L2 plus circle. The reason I got the reason I got it all assigned instead of just having R3 is because you need to be able to put your you need to be able to put your flaps down when you're landing in some situations. I don't know if it's going to be automated like this on at a certain distance like War Thunder is. Like if you slow down near the landing field and you hit toggle the flaps, it'll go flaps to landing instead of like if you have combat flaps instead of going to combat flaps because a lot of planes they got combat flaps and landing flaps, so you got to toggle between them. Trim aircraft. Now, they allow auto trimming on this game, so I didn't put my controls in here that I normally would have for trimming. Because I do have controls for that, because I'm coming from War Thunder Sim where you have to trim the plane. There is no auto trimming. Um, I will put those in if needed. They come out with game modes or room selections that require a search for auto or manual trimming. I'll put that in if that's needed. Engine start stop. I got L2X. Again, manual engine controls. I have these assigned on for War Thunder Sim when I play War Thunder, but I never got good at it, to be honest. If you do get good at this, you can have a serious advantage over your opponent. You just got to remember that each setting is going to be different for every plane. You're not going to be able to just go in and put a certain base setting that's going to work. It's just not that's not how it works. You got to get good at this if you want to be using it. Lead plane L2 3 plus S L2 plus L3. Hopefully I don't use that button too much. Reset my tracking position on for my VR. I put that L3. It's right on the stick. It's very easy to hit if the tracking ever messes up. Uh, I didn't mess with that grab. I'm trying not to use the controls they're making us right now, because there's a bug, but hopefully they fix it. This right here, these settings right here are for people that do not have VR and you're using the Switch on your flight stick. I just got my VR, so these settings are still in here. The VR is amazing, by the way. I'll never go back to flat screen for this game, but I'll show you these settings if you're not in a situation yet. So look left is left on the decrease value. Increase, you want to put right. Reset is L2. That just means like if you're looking left, you hit that button, you'll be dead center again in your cockpit. The only thing I messed with here is the relative. You got to put that on relative control, which means if you got to look left, it's not going to snap back to dead center when you let go of it. And then mess with this value. If it's too fast or too slow, that's relative sensitivity. It's just, I put it on 50. It feels good for me. It doesn't feel too fast or slow. It's perfect. You increase or decrease depending on what you like. Similar to the view axis, for the y-axis, decrease would be look down. Increase would be look up. Reset L2 again. Make sure you have relative control on for here as well. And then I put that as 50% too. Head up, head down. This currently does not work when you're in VR mode. I don't know if it's on purpose, because I just use looking up in my seat when I'm in VR to look over. But I know on War Thunder Sim you could still enable this, because I talked to VR players and it would pop them up in their seat, and then they would look around. But I kind of like the idea of not having that enabled for VR, because I can just sit up physically in my seat. It's kind of cool. But if you don't, you're just using the flight stick. This is perfect for deflection shots because obviously you need to be able to see over the front for a deflection shot. I use X. Dead zone, I know that I mess with. Thing you want to mess with is correction and multiplier. Put that at 1 and 2, and basically what that's saying is when I press X, it's going to be at max value for sitting up in the seat. It's good for deflection shots, really, really good. And obviously in VR we just look up in our seat, but if you're not in VR, enable that. It'll change your life if you've never played with it. It works really well for deflection shots and just seeing over the hood. Menu, didn't change that. I got rid of this dog shit function. This is dog shit. You don't need that. It's terrible. The multifunction menus. Who's going to be using this when you're in flight? Like it's not good. Statistics and map. These two buttons currently do not work in my VR. I think it's because they want you to pick up your VR controllers right now and physically look at statistics, and but they said they're working on getting rid of the VR controllers being accessible. So I'm hoping this works in the future. But if you're not using VR, this is perfect. L2 plus triangle looks at statistics, and holding down the triangle button looks at the tactical map. Again, this does not work in VR. I think they want you to physically look down in your cockpit at your map when you're in VR. But other than that, I think that's the only thing I changed there. That's it. But this will get you started. And like I said, I'll go over some of this trimming stuff if it becomes a requirement. But right now, if you're a new player, you don't want to mess with this anyway. It's just going to be just get used to flying the planes and the tactics of the planes, and then if you want to come to this, you can come to this, because this is a requirement on War Thunder Sim. You have to have. There's no such thing as auto trimming on War Thunder Sim, so this game is a little bit easier for new players to get a hang of. But yeah, that's it. Any questions, let me know, and I will try to help you out the best I can.